Today we are having a panel discussion on the theme of our conference. The theme of our conference is Empowering Excellence, Global Collaboration in Research and Academia. So I am honored to be moderator of this panel discussion. We have, as panelists, we have three distinguished figures with diverse academic background and experiences in collaboration, research, and innovation. So we have three panelists. Let me introduce the panelists here. We have Professor Dr. Navaraj Devkota, Vice Chancellor of Gandaki University. We have Dr. Yamuna Ghale, member of Board of Trustees, Gandaki University. And Professor Dr. Poonam Tandon, the Vice Chancellor of Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gorakhpur University. So this session will last for 45 minutes. We will speak for 45 minutes. And then after that, we will open the floor for the discussion. If you have any questions, any comments, or anything to say, please note it down so that you can ask at the end of the session, towards the end of the session. So as we navigate into this world of collaboration, global collaboration at global scale, and fostering the collaborative culture in science, and particularly in our region, it's very important to emphasize this collaboration in science, not only in natural science, but also in social science and other pedagogical approaches also. So first of all, I would like to open a question, and I would like to ask our Vice Chancellor, Professor Dr. Navaraj Devkota. So in your view, what is the, so it's just the ice-breaking question, right? So what is the significance of collaboration in research in academia?
Thank you. Thank you, Dean Dr. Kapil Adhikari, sir. First of all, I'd like to welcome all the participants in this historical panel discussion. Historical in the sense that, fortunately, we have one of the panelists from Indian University. India is our neighbor country, and often we love to welcome delegates from India. She is the Vice Chancellor, ma'am, from Deen Dayal Upadhyay University, Gorakhpur. So likewise, our another panelist is also a member of Board of Trustee of Gandaki University. So in that sense, when we have opportunity to talk about the significance of collaboration and research, I said in that line, this is historical and the privilege to all of us also. This is really very thematic question. You know, we are in the era facing challenges. If you look at the history of academic institutions and universities all over the world, you need to go back about 10,000 years. By that time also, the people across the world, they had tried to materialize the concept of academic activities by that time. But really, if you look back, the human ancestor, when they had started to be involved in research, to be involved in a kind of the then type of academic activities, it's dates back to million years. It's a very interesting. So if we look the time series trend and the pattern of our contribution to the society, and definitely there are lots of ups and downs and challenges, and the significance of those collaboration, research, and involvement in academic activities refer in a different way. It's not something like a static, okay? Obviously, because we have been coming up through the series of development of human efforts. Human efforts in the sense, the science and the research activities has evolved different sort of innovation. And those innovations are linked to, again, the development of science. like our moderator rightly said, this not only in the natural science, but also in social science, culture, history, all those areas. So in this sense, to me, honestly, the paradigm might be changed, but the significance of research and significance of those activities that we would love to do at the academic universities and institutions, they are unique. They represent the different era. They represent different culture, need, demand of the people and the society. So in that sense, this is something like, if you want to run by the use of vehicle, you must be prepared to organize the fuel. And that's the part of the answer. For example, how long you want to go without fuel, it's very difficult to assume and model. In that perspective, sometimes people do not understand. They would like to see direct impact of research and its significance at the present time in the community level, which often take times to develop and to be materialized. That is the hard part and challenge for all of us, but we can't escape. Since human civilization is in turning point, from one era to another era, from one milestone to another milestone, the significance is truly reflecting. Thank you, sir.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. We had gone through a long lockdown due to the COVID-19 pandemic. And during that pandemic, I was listening to one of the lectures by Yuval Noah Harari, a famous historian. And what he was saying in one of his lectures was, the coronavirus in the USA cannot collaborate with coronavirus in Nepal. That's why we can conquer coronavirus. So collaboration, communication, and these kind of efforts are unique to human beings. So it makes the collaboration makes human being quite a unique species on the globe, right? Okay. So my question to Yamuna ma'am, you are a member of Board of Trustees, Gandaki University. So I would like to ask you your perspective on the governance style of the institution. How does the governance style of the institution, academia, affects the collaboration efforts?
Thank you, moderator. Everyone, I'm Yamuna once again. I'm honored to be one of the panelists in this discussion session. Very first, what I can say is, for me, research is political. Research is not only technical thing. This is a political issue that is determined by who wants the benefit of research to direct the decision, to direct the financing, and to actualize it through the different institutional mechanism. So this is the way of controlling knowledge, controlling resource, and controlling the power. So for me, this is very important element. Research is a very important element to make the governance system very effective and relevant. Just coming back to Gandaki University, and I just done one midterm review of the Gandaki Province Planning Policy and Planning Commission about this 5 years periodic plan. What I can clearly say is the education system of Gandaki University, Pokhara University, and the technical colleges and the schools that are not very much aligned with the priorities set by the periodic plan of the Gandaki Policy and Planning Commission. So meaning that, where is the demand? Whose aspiration it is? Where do we want to invest? This is very much important to save the future of Gandaki province first, and then to the nationwide contribution. So for me, as a trustee of the Gandaki University, what I very much believe is that the governance system of the Gandaki province, university, can really make assessment. I won't go to up to research, but very first is the assessment, understanding, and then only prioritize the research where we should be focusing our faculties focus on the educational streams. Giving an example, this is one of the hub where the migrant families back home are residing, and mostly populous tourist population is also here. But if you look into the streams selected by the university, and if you look into the students' interest and the need of the Gandaki province, you hardly find the matching interest there. So it's a national process also. We can see that the priorities are somewhere, youth's demands are somewhere, and the education system is somewhere. So there is a mismatch of the demands, mismatch of the market, and mismatch of the youth's aspirations. So for me, it's very important for us as a part of the governance body to really look into the domestic demand first, Gandaki province demand first, and the country's demand second. Then also there is a demand for us to sell our services in the international market. So I see a possibility for us to engage our youths in research, innovation, studies that has to go beyond technicalities, because the technicality only not serve the purpose. We have to look for the social demographic related research and then synthesis of knowledge, because I attended first session in the research findings and second session on the research findings. But what I find is how do we message? How do we translate those messages into our curriculums? How do we respond our curriculum specific requirements by having the educated or broad-minded lecturers? So those are the issues just we have discussed. Is the migration is a common phenomena, unstoppable phenomena, and people want for betterment, people want to move. Now what we have is whose parents are in remote area, children are here, whose parents are here, children are abroad. So there is a very disconnect between the parents, between the demands, between the needs. So there is a very mismatch of the research, understanding of demography and the governance system to prepare to respond on that. So that's why my understanding is that from the governance perspective, it has to be relevant, it has to be effective, it has to be responsive, and it has to be affordable. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. Poonam ma'am, so you as a Vice Chancellor of Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gorakhpur University, and coming from natural science background, my question to you is, what is your experience of international collaboration or national collaboration also for the academic excellence in your university? What are your experiences?
Thank you very much. Thank you, Honorable Vice Chancellor and Madam Yamuna ji. Thank you very much. And very good afternoon to all of you. And I'm very happy to be the part of this international conference, which is focused on excellence in research and with collaboration, with collaborative efforts. For me, the collaboration is very, very important. I see the world as a global village, and the boundaries are only in our minds, basically. And collaborations, research collaboration in science or in any field is very, very important, because different research groups or different researchers have different expertise. If we can combine the expertise of different persons, we can come out with more innovative research. That is why the collaborative research is very, very important. And also, to me, I started my journey in the research as far as excellence concerned with collaboration through international collaboration only. Our university, all other universities, all the research groups do not have all the facilities. If you talk anywhere in the world, even in Harvard, they cannot have everything. And even if we talk about the developing countries like India and Nepal, we have limited infrastructure and limited facilities also. 20-year back, we do not have access to all the journals even, and we had limited facilities. And then I started my journey with collaboration with a European country, with Germany, through Humboldt Fellowship. And through Humboldt Fellowship, I got support for my students for many postdoctoral and then faculty exchange, student exchange. And we were able to build our research laboratory through the funding from Humboldt Foundation. They provided many equipment, many books, many things, and also from the intellectual discussions with German researchers. So we had very strong collaboration with Germany that time, and that collaboration was very fruitful. And with that collaboration, that journey, and that collaboration started with the poster. I was presenting as a student. I was presenting a poster in a conference like this only. So this type of conferences are very, very important. And there was a German researcher, and he was interested in my research. Then I discussed with him, and I applied for Humboldt Fellowship. Then I traveled to him, and I was there. Then this journey began there. So these type of collaboration and activities for us are very, very important. And then I was the part of many international projects, starting from JSPS in Japan, then FRNS in the France, Fulbright in US, many more collaboration. And to me, the collaborative research is very, very important. It not only provides opportunity for a researcher to interact with persons from different countries, or to come out from their own comfort zone, but also it is very important for students to understand the researchers who are in different countries, and also to understand different cultures, different languages, and also to understand that there should be acceptability also in their mind, because generally the student living in one country, or they have some barriers in their mind about the person living in the country. So this type of acceptability comes only when you work with persons from different culture, different country, different caste, different religion. So not only from the scientific or academic contribution, the socially, these type of collaborations are very, very important, that we also learn to respect the culture, the dressing pattern, the language, the looks, everything of the persons living in the other part of the world. That is very, very important. So for our students, I being the Vice Chancellor of Gorakhpur University, we would like to encourage such collaboration. And the Nepal is our next neighbor. It is not only we are culturally similar, we can complement each other in many things, many cases. And I already have collaboration with Tribhuvan University, professors from Tribhuvan University. And I visited, I think, Tribhuvan University or the Kathmandu, I don't remember, maybe 7, 8 times. And several researchers from Nepal did PhD in our research group. Also, right now, 2 professors are working in my research group with the support of Department of Science and Technology. So we learned many things about the Nepal, about their music, about their food, about their culture, about everything. And they also learned many things from us. So now they are the part of our family. Now these students, so I have I don't know, maybe many more students, many students are working in different parts of the Nepal who had collaboration with me. Then this collaboration not only extended, it was extended to Brazil. Like I have collaboration with Brazil, and the professors from Nepal, they also traveled to they also got fellowship through Taiwan, third world country, and now they travel to Brazil also. So it is very important to extend these type of network and these type of collaboration, and especially between the developing countries. These type of collaborations is very, very important. Yesterday, I was listening to a presentation by Professor Jha. He gave a very nice presentation about the ranking, about the QS ranking and different type of rankings. Before joining the Gorakhpur as the Vice Chancellor of Gorakhpur University, I was the Director General of UPCRAM. UPCRAM is basically, it is an initiative of our Honorable Governor, Madam Anandiben Patel, and she is promoting academic excellence in all the state universities of Uttar Pradesh. And this center is mentoring different state universities for ranking and accreditation. Okay, so we are working on different ranking parameters, and he also discussed that why our universities are lagging behind in ranking in comparison to the universities of other developed countries like US or Canada or a little bit Europe. For sure, we have the funding issues, the infrastructure and all these funding issues. As he already discussed all these points. But the point which he missed, I will try to cover this point. See, if you see the ranking of the universities in Malaysia and Thailand, about 5 years back, their ranking in the situation position was not so good in QS ranking. And these type of rankings are very much based on the perception. If QS ranking, more than 50% points are for academic peers, review from academic peers and your employer. Okay, 60%. And rest of the points are for research, international collaboration, and everything else. And these 60% points are very, very important. And our universities are not doing so well, and they are not working on these 60% points. That is the issue with the universities in developing countries. So if we can catch up with the 60% perception points, we can do much better in ranking. And ranking is nothing but the reflection of your academic excellence, I will say. And it is very important for the branding of your university. Nowadays, when a student is taking admission in university, he or she is looking for your ranking, what type of QS ranking you have, or this type of ranking. And he was also talking about the migration of students from Nepal or even from India. We have migration of students in the developing country and how we can retain them. If we have good universities with equal rankings, we can always convince our students that we study there only. So the ranking is one of the parameters which is very, very important for our university. And for perception, it was seen that the professors or the researchers of developing countries, they collaborate a lot with developed countries like US is their first choice, then their Canada, Europe or Australia or Japan, other countries. But when it comes to the perception, these countries do not vote for you, for the universities of developing countries. It is established. We have discussion with the QS, the director of the QS ranking in the South Asia and all these things. He said, when it comes to perception, we are voted better by our neighboring countries, SAARC countries. By as far as India is concerned, the opinion of Nepal, Sri Lanka, Bangladesh, that contributes much better than the opinion of US or they will always vote for their own universities or some other universities, for sure not for our universities. So it is very, very important to strengthen the bonds between the universities in the SAARC countries. And especially the Nepal is the, like for our universities, Nepal is the like 3 hour or something, Pokhara is 3 hours from our university. So we should do the hand holding, we should come together and we can complement each other. Yesterday I had a lot of discussion with Pokhara University and other universities also. And it is possible to complement each other and also join hand for ranking, okay, through the international collaboration. Another established fact is in these rankings, the publications in Scopus is very, very important. Citation at index is very important. And it is seen if a research paper is published independently, then its citation is less. But if it is published through international collaboration, citation is 10 times more.
Okay. Yeah.
It is established, again, an established fact. Okay. So such type of collaboration is very, very important. Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. Thank you, ma'am. So talking about the excellence in academia and research, Nepal is now facing a big challenge of exodus of students after their high school, right? So when we were coining the theme of our conference, we were discussing about this problem. So how to mitigate this problem. So Professor Dr. Navaraj Devkota, can you shed some light on how the collaboration, the collaborative efforts between universities in Nepal and universities abroad can help mitigate the brain drain that we are facing now?
Again, tough question to me. Never
He's my boss. That's why I have to.
Thank you. Thank you, Dean Dr. Adhikari. This is a really important question. And also, I should say it's a timely also, because the situation we are facing at this era, especially for last 10 years onward, the things are changing very fast. To me, now, the students, to my generation, or even after that, but I mean, look at about 20 or 30 years ago, there was a different scenario. At least you could predict mindset of students at the university, where they would go. Maybe this student would go in science, this person in engineering, and this person would go to the abroad study. These sort of things would be a little bit predictable. But now, because of the development in technology, I am convinced that the lots of things is resting to the development of IT. It has taken so fast development, it hasn't left any area to touch. If you look very carefully, IT is everywhere, on the ear, you know, on the ground, on our mindset, on our lifestyle, on our occupation, whatnot. So this has made us a little bit difficult scenario about the running of universities with a classical theme, I should say. In this prospect, there is one hope, a ray of hope, that if we have to survive, if the universities have to survive, as I told earlier, the challenge is changing, a role is changing, and we can't escape from this platform. But if we have to be in the line of university system, the collaboration, the historical collaboration should be also changed. I just try to Google a little bit about how people perceive the term collaboration. I beg your permission to
Yes, sure, sir. My permission. Okay.
see what I found. I'm
Granted.
very much convinced.
Granted.
It says, you know, the term collaboration in academic research is usually thought to mean an equal partnership between two academic faculty members who are pursuing mutually interesting and beneficial research. This is a classical one. When you say collaboration, it comes instead of out of partnership. That is, you know, it's not an unequal partnership. It's a fair partnership. Today, however, many collaborations involve research of different status, funding status, and types of organization. How hard it is to interpret all these things. So what I am increasingly convinced is that we are in the crossroad. That crossroad has forced us to develop our niche specific, our need specific, our market specific, our society specific areas for collaboration.
Yes.
If we generalize them, perhaps that could be accident. So analysis of the perspective is very important to me. And that's what Gandaki University is trying, I should say trying, because we are pretty new in terms of establishment, and we run with a very limited government support funding. And sometimes our CV doesn't fit to compete for a big grants, institutional grants, even for research grant, because we are too young. In this sense, see, collaboration is a very important, like if we look the platform of collaboration with the other established universities, and that within a short period of time increases our quality, increases our capacity, institutional capacity, where we can remodel the students' interest, because it's very challenging. Mindset of the students are changing. It doesn't mean that you should be static. We must be also dynamic. And I am convinced that we should not hesitate to become dynamic. Sometimes it question you, because what is your sustainability? Because what is your reputation? but those things should be slowly adjustable. If we work in a fair basis, and those issues might be also solved quickly, but it's not with the effort of few persons. There must be a institutional support. There must be a teamwork. There must be a very good team building. There must be a platform, horizontal platform and vertical platform to be involved in collaboration institutionally, personally, with the research fellow, with the involvement of students, and that can help us to solve little bit problem and then move forward.
Yes,
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Yamuna ma'am, you started by saying that research is political, right? So if research is political, then collaboration is also political. There has to be somewhere somebody doing a political decision for collaboration, right? So in our collaborative effort, how can we ensure that the collaboration is on equal footing? Because as our Vice Chancellor read out one definition of collaboration, so the collaboration should be on equal footing, equal collaboration, right? So so when I'm collaborating with a professor from Harvard University, how can I be equal with him in collaboration? So what are the challenges in this scenario? Yes.
I think this is a very important aspect in research, because why I say research is political, because look at the amount of research we invest in our development budget. Look at our system. And look at our vision, how the development should be based on the research and evidence-based information. This has never been the priority of our vision of the government, is because our whole development budget is running through FDA around 70%. That means development budgets are coming from somewhere else, and someone has some interest where to invest. So that's why I'm saying it's political. This is the first thing, resource capturing. The second thing is where to invest. Among those funds also, where to invest is also is political. I'm just giving an example. I had attended one workshop in Bangkok. It was solely on maize, corn. And I had seen one session where the Thai professor, he had brought one project on maize only, and he had 3 students presenting, and one presented on the byproduct of maize, silk, maize silk. I'm maize silk butter, they made the beauty products, silk oil, silk cream, silk whatnot, silk tea. So when people are doing research, young minds like our students who wants to engage in research, they should be engaging. It should be very fulfilling. It should be very rewarding. So when you say that beautification, beauty products are there in the market, not necessarily in the domestic market only, but also in the abroad, when they are at home and then doing research and selling the products and getting the rewarding incentive, why should they migrate? The very important thing. Likewise, they were doing is, we have lots of varieties here. Also, that's what I'm saying. Gandaki province has, periodic plan has defined biodiversity as one of the important elements of this prosperity of this province. So if we look into the maize itself, and then in that presentation, what they had shown is, out of the purple maize, black maize, they have extracted the color, and they have used it into the ice cream toppings. You can imagine. Maize color in the ice cream toppings. And maize colors in the dyeing of the silks. You see the products. So very first important issue is that how do we prioritize the commodities that has to be transformed into the products that is very rewarding in terms of economics, in terms of engagement, in terms of fulfillment of the youth's aspiration. So this is a prioritization of the product and prioritization of the market surveillance. This is the first. The second thing is, how do we be ethical in terms of research. And in my own research, what I found is that our universities, our research centers sometimes have done the collaboration with the international agencies, but on a personal benefit. I can give an example. I have done one research, and some of our researchers have shared our buckwheat seed to a Japanese collaborator. And you know the buckwheat, it starts flowering from below and it keep on flowering. It takes long time to flower and then harvest. And they have converted it into the perennial flower, for example. You see the market. So we have to see the things not necessarily from the perspective of food products, but also the commercial products that has the value in the international market, that has the value for intellectual property rights claim, so that you can also get the benefit as a researcher, as a community, as a protector, and as a government, or what else. So this is the second thing. And the third thing, what I have seen is that in terms of collaboration, private sector is the major sector who creates employment in the country. And because public sector hardly creates employment. Once they enter, they take for 30 years until retirement. But the employment comes from private sector. And in my whole interaction with the private sector, what they say is, none of the graduates from, especially from the technical universities, they are applicable for their job in their industries right after they graduate, because sometimes they haven't touched the soil for 4 years when studying agriculture. They haven't gone to the field and interacted with the people. If they have studied tourism, for example, they have not visited even a half of the country when they are a tourism student. So they cannot be employed immediately. So very important aspect here is to do the collaboration with our own private sector, where they need expertise, where we have to impart knowledge and skill, and how we can make the students employable in the country itself. This is the third stream. And the fourth one, you said about the collaboration. It's not only about the funding coming, but also the nation's priority. How much percentage of the resource should be allocated for research? That has to come from the federal government's understanding and the provincial government's understanding, so that only after the government, the universities like Gandaki University can get the share of those state resources in research, so that it shows the accountability of the state towards research, and university can really support in building the technical human resources or social human resources. They have wealth of knowledge through research. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. Tandon, ma'am, Professor Tandon. So the same question. In any collaborative effort, we can see some kind of inequality among the partners, right? Inequality in terms of fund, inequality in terms of the available resources, and all those kind of things, right? So how to deal with such inequalities, and what are the ways to mitigate those inequalities in collaboration?
It's very important question. As far as what you said, the research collaboration should be thematic. It is very, very important. We should be aligned to the priorities of the, it should be aligned to the priorities of the country and the issues of the country, and also the policies of the government, and also aligned to the international policies. That is one thing that is very, very important. You are talking about the equality in the collaboration. See, as you mentioned, if a person from developed country collaborates with the Harvard University or MIT, how the two collaborators can be on equal footing? I will say the collaboration is based on we should complement each other. It is not so important to be on equal footing. Sometimes the other partner may contribute more, and the two partners can contribute differently, and one partner can contribute intellectually, and the other partner can like if suppose I am doing some basic research, okay, and you know how to make it applied, okay, And maybe you have a different type of expertise, I have different type of expertise, but we are not on the equal footing, but we can complement each other. So if we have some complementary problem, we can complement each other, then that is the most important. For example, in COVID times, I will give you example of the contribution of India to the COVID vaccines. And see, there are many more pharma companies, topmost companies in US, and some other in India. And Indian companies contributed a lot to the COVID vaccines. And they have not only, they have supplied vaccines to different developing countries much more than the contribution from US, although I cannot say that we are on the equal footing. So it depends on what type of need you have and what type of expertise you have. And financial contribution is one factor.
Yeah.
Intellectual contribution is another factor. Maybe in developing country, we cannot contribute financially, but we have intellectually trained manpower. So that is why you have the migration from Nepal or India to these developing countries. So if you see the CEOs of topmost companies, they are either from, they are all mostly from developing countries.
Yes.
So I will say the definition of equal footing is not only financial, it is intellectual also.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. That's very important, that we can complement each other, right? If not support, but complement, right? Okay.
Yeah.
VC sir, the world is shrinking. Everybody can talk with everybody. So it's getting flat, it's getting hot, it's getting crowded. In this hot, flat, and crowded world, collaboration has become easier, people say. But what are the challenges posed by these technological innovations and advancement in information technology and this flatness? What are the challenges this flatness has created in collaboration?
Oh, another milestone question. Thank you, sir. First of all, I like to clarify that what I'm talking is my personal opinion. You know, every person has opinion based on his or experience,
Yes.
based on exposure, and based on kind of capability also. That might vary well. So it's not necessary that what I will argue and that might well answer your question or satisfy the need and then interest of the listener audience also. Because it's a perspective again.
Yes. Yes.
Right.
Mhm.
When I try to analyze this hot, crowded,
Flat.
and flat,
Mm.
that's the place where we are living. It looks like there has been a war going on, you know. This is a silent war. The war is not visible on the surface, but it's a working.
Mhm.
For example, this is a war again that governs the output mostly on the basis of investment.
Mhm.
Now, the very few examples are there. Still, people are fighting physically and even claiming the territories, boundaries, but they are very non-significant if you look over the history and then area and the country expansion all over the world. But what is going on inside in a parallel fashion is that which country is capable of investing on science and technology?
Mhm.
Which country is capable of investing more and more on research? And they are already in position to capture most of the futures coming several years, resources, market, capital, what's not.
Mhm.
And the pity thing is that often the universities and research centers and academia are falling behind to understand this fact. And our governance system or, you know, the political system, it looks like they are not been well capable of walking in that path. How you can be competitive. You know, look at some example. Now, the computer age, a small country, Taiwan, is spending $100,000 million and involving at least 500,000 people in industry sector to develop technology. It is a computer technology. It's a, the parts and very important equipment of IT technology. Those things you can analyze in other country also. It's not necessary their country should be bigger. That is necessary, like the India and China, heavily populated country. That's the advantage, that market is there. Okay. But also challenge is there, how to satisfy the need of all these huge population. That sometimes is beneficial, sometimes it reduces the opportunity of investing money for research, because you have to satisfy the basic needs of the people. So all the way we are in a trap, kind of the vicious circle. The poor countries, resource poor countries, are always in a cyclic order. And resource-rich countries who invested in time in industry and also in technology, they've been vertically moved forward. And how you can compare in terms of opportunity, in terms of, making your life better. So, but if we could understand and analyze this situation and reflect those things into our curriculum, for example. Now, what people say at the university level, there are three important keywords most of the scholars they know: teaching, research, and community service. Right?
Yeah.
It's a kind of common things. But in Europe, they have added another dimension. The fourth dimension is industry tie-up. We are not in their position. We are still talking whether our community service should be a land grant basis or a, government control basis. Our thinking is just roaming in that area. But the people are already, again, ahead of us in the market. So what they have been researching is what sort of innovation should be done at the university, not only research.
Yes.
And how those innovative ideas could be well transformed into the industry, and how those industry can be linked with the university in terms of its expenses, in terms of its collaboration, and in terms of its further product processing development. So they have poured quite significant money in research to that aspect. We are getting late. Now, Gandaki University has started to create a platform incubation center, sort of things like a research, innovation, and invention center. Okay. We must be careful about proper utilization of this space by our faculty, by our students, also by considering those market and industry tie-up. Your course, if it is a little bit isolated from those industry demand, and there will be no market for our graduates.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you. So, Dr. Ghale, in the past, universities used to produce clerks, right? Clerks who can do the official work, all-rounder, mostly file managers, right? Nowadays, in the age of specialization, what we need is skills in our graduates, right? The first day competency, what we call. But increasingly, those skills are provided by the platforms outside universities. For example, we have all these MOOCs, massive open online courses. They are easy to go through, affordable, and available everywhere, right? Very easily. So in this scenario, and in this age of MOOCs and the cloud computing and all these things, why university is needed? Why we need university and why we need degree? That is my existential question. No, anyone can.
बिजी साहबको जागिर जाला जस्तो भयो भनेको. Okay. This is a very fundamental question, I would say. If we don't improve, we have a question on our existence. This is a very firm question we have now, seeing the enrollment pattern of students into the colleges and the universities, and unnecessarily getting these affiliated colleges established as a mushroom. So this is a very fundamental question we have to raise on. But that doesn't mean that we should go beyond the system, because we talked very first on the governance issue. Yeah, the governance meaning that strengthening our system's foundation. That comes from the academics. Yeah? That comes from the system. That means it's a ladder of educational system that really supports education, innovation, knowledge documentation, expansion, and everything. That's what I listened to one of the sessions today, that more the poor country, more the predatory publications. You see, this is a very, very dangerous statement I listened today morning. So the more important is more the lecturers, more the professors bring more projects in collaboration with private sector, in-house or outside, and also the international universities, as well as the other countries, G2G basis collaborations, and more the students engage into that research, and then make the publications, scientific publications. And then when those publications are referred by collaborators twice, thrice, and then it can have better outreach to the population to transmit your knowledge and findings. This is the very first. So we have to build the scientific knowledge, knowledge base. This is the first thing we have to have, that education system. The second thing is the degree based on research, based on innovation, based on knowledge is very important, is because the state has to understand the interrelation between education, research, and extension in our agriculture system. Basically, we say extension because the knowledge generated from the academic system, that has to be translated to the practice, that is for the use of commons. Meaning, in our system, 60% population is in agriculture, for example. And your knowledge has to be transmitted to those people who are the custodians of the biological diversity, who are the custodians of soil management. So this is very important. That's what you said about the hotter, flatter communities issue. And the third one is the broader vision of the state. That I'm very clear is because we don't have the negotiation power, political power, so that we run our country's budget in the FDI around 70%, and we don't have the leverage to negotiate. But at the same time, what we can do is, as a member of the multilateral trading systems, UN systems, and regional system, we have a leverage there. As a state member, independent state member, equal member, we can play on that basis so that we can claim our equal rights to be an equal footing partner in those research and in those innovations. I just give you an example. You may not agree or agree. For example, when we made the submission of our working party document to the World Trade Organization, WTO membership in 2003, and it has been endorsed by our parliament in 2005. If you go to that document, one of the product that has identified is the chang. Chang is a Newari bate jad, bate jad ko crystal part. Chang is mentioned there. This is one of our the very typical indigenous drink. It has been mentioned there, but our system doesn't recognize that and doesn't support to brand it. But now you can find in market Korean Chang, and everybody is drinking it. You see, we don't promote our indigenous products. We don't promote our indigenous thing. We don't recognize what we have committed in the international platforms, but we allow the import of Korean Chang and drink it very proudly. This is the visionless state we are having. And in the morning also, you had a discussion on the branding of the or banning of this Kodogoraksi, the millet drink. And now we are having beer factory, and then our research is not in the naked barley, for example. This has been already lost. But we are having the beer factory in the country, and we are importing wheat. Does this make sense? No. So for me, it's about identifying the market potentials and identifying the export potential, the import substitution potentials, and investing on the research, not necessarily only on breeds and varieties, but also on the skills part. As you rightly mentioned, skills is somewhere else that we have to collaborate with the private sector, and that knowledge has to be imparted to the youths so that they can produce the innovative products, diversified products in the market, and that can really go into the market that will also support the country in terms of import substitution, self-sufficiency, and some products can be exportable also.
Okay, yes,
Thank
thank you. Last question before I move to the audience, to Professor Tandon. The same question. Do we need universities? Because as I said, we have lots of other platforms, and I can, as an individual researcher, I can collaborate with an individual researcher anywhere in the world, right? So why do I need university for collaboration?
It is the most relevant question of the day, I will say, because now the higher education is very, very competitive. Before joining any higher education institution must be able to satisfy, give the answer to the student that why should I join you? Okay, there are so many options, in earlier days, there were limited higher education institution and students had limited options. Now there are n number of state universities, private universities, government universities, and the possibility to travel abroad as well. It is much more open. Why the student should join you? So that is why I was talking about the rankings and all these things. The university should be a center of excellence. They should be able to answer the question that why should I join you rather than going for online education? Why should I come out from my home for education? And what you will give it to us? And our government now was also worried about it. And our honorable Prime Minister and government now in India, we have a new national education policy. And maybe the Nepal should also think about it. And in the national education policy, the skill is the part of curriculum. Industrial training is the part of curriculum. And for example, chemistry students should go to the industry for some work to see how these reactions can be applied in the industry. And there to reduce this gap between industry and the academic institution, it is the part of curriculum. I think then only the student will need the university rather than the online courses of the.
Yes, thank you. So we need to have a collaboration between the industry, academia, and other research institutes, right? So okay, so thank you, panelists. Now the floor is open. If you have any question, any comment, if it is for particular panelist, please address that also. The floor is open.
Thank you, panelists and the moderator of the session. My name is Sushil Bhandari, and I'm Assistant Professor of Pharmacy Program at Gandaki University. So I was really impressed with the statement of Yamuna ma'am that research is political, it's not just technical. So during COVID-19 pandemic, there's a lot of questions and criticism about the origin of the coronavirus around the globe. And the virus became the political virus. So this scenario indicates that collaboration among diplomats and political figures around the world is worsening. So how do you look at this scenario? And my second question is, what kind of role we as an academician and researchers should play to overcome this kind of collaborating, disturbing scenario across the world even during the pandemic situation. So my question is for Amuna ma'am, and I'd like to request Namaraj sir and Poonam ma'am to add their view as well. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Bimla Sarma from Gandaki Medical College. I have two questions. While talking about the global collaboration, my question might be very simple. I am talking about the collaboration within the sector in the national level. As in the context of Nepal, usually research are conducted in isolation. I mean, sector-wise research are conducted. Health sector conduct research for health only. Agriculture conduct for agriculture sector only. Usually, most of the social problem are multifaceted and they require the multi-sectoral collaboration and effort. In such situation, how can we promote multi-sectoral research activity in the context of Nepal? That is my first question. And the second question is that I am really agree with the statement of the Yamuna ma'am that there is mismatch between the social problem, social need, and what the research planner and the policymaker are thinking, and what actually researcher and academician are doing. And regarding this mismatch, usually policymaker, they claim that about the quality of the research and the strength of evidence provided by the researcher. And the researcher and academician usually claim that insufficiency of the fund. And so that there is not collaboration between the local government and the university. Usually in the developing country, there is collaboration between the municipality or local government and university. Local government, they fund the program, they fund the research, and the university, they provide the sufficient evidence to plan in better way. And even there is collaboration between the private sector and university. That is not the situation in our context. So my question is that in this situation, how can we bring together the policymaker, researcher, and the academician together? This question, I would like to request to the Yamuna ma'am to answer, and VC sir also. Thank you so much.
Good afternoon, everyone. I am Vishwa Chandra Adhikari from the South Korea Kyunghee University. I'm working as a research professor. Yes, with Yamuna ma'am, I agree a little bit because research is like is politics. I also feel or realize that thing because when we go in the developed country conference, and if they participate from the poor country or developing country, and if they present their knowledge or concept or such a thing in the developed countries, they arise the many questions. And next thing is, in case of publication is the open up concept or such a thing. But for the publication from the developed country, it is very easy. But from the poor country or developing country, it is difficult. Why this variation is occurring? So this question goes to for the Muna ma'am. Thank you.
Have any question, but just a comment related to MOOC and SWAM. We have this NPTEL and MOOC platforms for the educations, or it is like a existence of the universities or existence of the professor or the scientists. As our Vice Chancellor says that the skill development is very necessary. So in the MOOC or in the SWAM or the NPTEL or online platform, it will not provide these skills. So we require our senior professors or scientists who has experience there during their educations or their scientific work. So that's why the university is required. And the university not only teach any subject, it also provides some culture also, working environment also, how to collaborate with the individual to individual, how to collaborate with your colleagues, how to collaborate with your department. So overall, communication skill, professional skills, all are developed in the university. Not even in the research institute, you can't think about that types of communication development. or personality development, what we say. In the research institutes, they only do some technological things and putting the test tube here and there and doing the GC mass and all these things. But in the university, that is required overall personality development, how you will be expressed in the society, besides the research also. That's it. Thank you. Sure, sure.
Yeah, thank you very much. In Indian prospect, I want to share one thing. Actually, the new education policy recently launched by Government of India, National Education Policy 2020. So in that, the particular focus is the collaboration. We are offering dual degree program, joint degree program, twinning program. So there is a scope how we can attract the students from different countries. So we are offering all these things. So in addition to madam, these things will also included for excellence of collaboration. Thank you very much for this.
नमस्ते म कृष्ण सापकोटा म इनोभेसन ल्याब फर हर्टिकल्चरमा काम गर्छु yeah when we talk about this global collaboration in research and academia I do have question like when we think of this research and academia so have we also thought of having researches around the agribusiness entrepreneurship that can attract our students so that they can get into the agribusiness or I mean or entrepreneurship, you know, it might not only be necessarily be agriculture, but or it might be other interventions as well, so that we can rely on our potential products to catch them up for our universities or academia, so that we can get them use for them or use their education for the development of the nation. So that's my question, because it's coming along the line that our brain is draining, you know. So in this case, what could be the collaborative efforts so that they can be realized better for the development of the nation? Thank you very much.
So we have few questions regarding many things, right? So in addition to that, I'd like to add one question to all of us, including me. We, in our subcontinent, we are facing this brain drain problem since very long, right? So in all these collaborating efforts, can we chain that drained brain, like collaborating with NRIs from the non-NRI, I don't know. So, and collaborating with NRN from Nepal. So that's chaining the brain, right? So brain chain. Can we do that brain chain programs, or do we have any such experiences of brain chain program in your university or in Nepal or somewhere? So first to Professor Tondon, and then we'll go.
We have similar issues in India as well. And our government has worked a lot about this, that why a lot of money from Indian students is going abroad. It is a part of our economy also. Not only we are losing manpower, but also we are losing the revenue that can be earned by our own country. Now the government decided to allow foreign universities to open their campuses in India. So maybe the same type of education which they can get by going to US, and they become used to of American life. After a certain time, 3 or 4 hours, they are adjusted there. If they can get similar education here, so it is an experiment that our government is doing to stop the brain drain, and also by improving the quality of our own higher education institution, providing them similar opportunities in India also for skill development, and like for example, making the courses more industry oriented, And for example, in US and Canada, you have very often find that there are some co-op programs and in which a student is doing semester on and off, then working also. In
Oh.
other semester, he or she is working in industry. So we are also working on these type of programs. If a student can get similar type of learning in our own country, maybe it will stop some part of brain drain.
So, okay, thank you. Over to you, Emuna ma'am. You have lots of questions. Yeah. Mhm.
Yes, thank you everyone for your questions and queries. I think on the very first question of this related to COVID, for me, what I can say is I'm not from a health background, and then this whole issue of COVID and its emergence and everything is there, is still under discussion. But what I say is, which was the location, which was the market, it has emerged. It's the agriculture market. Wuhan, the market, agriculture market was the epicenter, I would say. And the agriculture labor was first suffered. Then after, it has created a whole havoc around the world. This is one part of it. But more important is who suffered the most. This is very important. For us, for the countries like us, there are three types of countries, economic vulnerabilities: secured countries, resilient countries, or enduring countries. Our type of country is not enduring country or responsive country. It's very secured with a different coping mechanisms. So if you look into Nepal, what had was, I just want to give an example. Who suffered the most is women who work in the informal sectors, restaurants, hotels, dance bars, and everything. So they suffered the most first. The second who suffered the most is informal agricultural laborers. Second. Third, who suffered the most is women with the lower quality of education. They suffered the most because they didn't have the access to information and not having the coping strategy to manage the food within the household. And the fourth one is, in total, 87% of our household gone for the coping strategy to manage the food security for the household during that time. Meaning, it has a larger implication on our system. And just taking the example during the COVID period, that's why I'm saying political is, during the COVID period, the vegetables transferred from one district to another district was restricted. But unfortunately, all the loads of trucks of Indian vegetable entered into our market. That's the fact. So why I'm saying is it's political. Why Indian vegetables enter into Kalimati and Bolku market? Why not vegetable from Orgakhachi can go to Pokhara, Kaski? This is all political. That's why I'm saying the implications are political. Then the structures are political, responses are political. That's why we have to look it from the political perspective, not from the technical solutions. That is one question I want to respond on. The second one on how do we respond? I think this is where we really need to do kind of assessments also, because sometimes if the agriculture knowledge center or if the government does those kind of assessments, that can be sometimes biased. But the universities like you have, and you have your students, maybe you could have done some assessment during that time. What was the actual reasons behind it? Why Orgakhachi vegetables were dumped on the way when coming to Kaski, for example? So you could have been doing that kind of research or the assessment so that you could be unbiased in terms of understanding of the political dynamics around agriculture market. So that would be the role, immediate responses. But more than that, later on, you can also have curriculums that really see how delicate is agriculture, food and market and trade and consumer behavior and political vision as part of your curriculum. So this is a political issue that can also fit into your curriculum system. So I would just stop there. On the question of Bimala Madam, this is very important, intersectoral collaboration. That's what I was sharing earlier also. Last time when I did the study for this province planning commission, what I found is that when a child is malnourished, a child, malnourished child with the mother is brought to the nutrition centers managed by Ministry of Health and Social Development. But back home, there are other 3 children that are already gone to the malnutrition cycle when mother is in the nutrition center. And then the father, who is earning for the family, he has lost the half of the income because wife is here and he is also taking care of the remaining children. It has pushed them into the debt trap. And going back, it's not about the mother who doesn't know how to cook. It's about her access to the food items that she can use properly to feed her child. So now we have to look at it from the perspective of production, access to productive resources, access to knowledge, access to income opportunities, employability opportunities. So it has much more beyond health. So this is where I see the intersectoral coordination has to come through the educational curriculum system also, because I had talked to the medical doctors already, and there is no inclusion of those kind of issues in their health system. So this is very important from the Gandaki University side. At least interdisciplinary collaborations could take up those kind of issues, which has the source of complications from one side, impact somewhere, and the decisions are coming from somewhere. So I think this is a point of collaboration we can do. This is one example of it. And then on this narratives on this research and then collaborations part, I very much agree with you on this, why we want to do certain research, who want to be engaged in that research, how the narratives to be developed is also very political, honestly saying it. So we have to be very careful when selecting the partners for research and then bringing the narrative. That's what I also questioned Krishnaji today morning. He had made one presentation on the vegetable post-harvest life lengthening process. And I was just asking him how relevant it is in our context. That might be good in New Zealand, that might be good in Australia, but not here. So how to make those research relevant for us? How to make those research messages goes to the common public? When he concluded that the brassica family vegetables are very important in our diet to reduce the effect of carcinogenic effect. My question was, in our market, because of the more use of the chemicals, when you eat those kind of vegetables, you have more chance of carcinogenic effect. So you see, this is the dynamic. So how do you communicate your research message? This is very important for us. How do we conduct research? How do we narrate it? How do we communicate it? This is very important, I think. And on the last question of this alliance making, research making kind of thing, for me, it's very important for us to be very honest and ethical. For me, this is very important. Just I give one example. In our childhood time, we used to have lots of flaxseed production in our own field. I remember that. In between, what was the message coming in is, when you take flaxseed oil, you will have paralysis problem. It was massively coming through the media. And that has been the propaganda of private sector, someone else. Yeah? But now the science and research says flaxseed is very important for your body. Now you go to US or you go to New Zealand or somewhere else, when coming back, you bring 1 pack of flaxseed as a gift. You see, this is where I'm just concerned about the provincial planning commission's priority. One of the priority is biodiversity, and Gandaki University is here. I sincerely request to take that thread as one of the strong component to make research, to make studies, to make documentations, and really go for product development and product diversification for the consumption, for the trading, for the export. So this is where I see the potential to capture our indigenous knowledge, indigenous skills, respect to the community, so that when we do the collaboration with the international companies and science, life science companies, and the benefit also goes to the community who are saving those seeds and who are saving those knowledge. So that's where I would like to end. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Yamuna ma'am. Actually, I don't have particular things to say because most of the questions are well covered by our two panelists. Just a few words of conclusion sort of things. I won't respond one by one because it's not necessary to go in that line. It's well discussed. First of all, I like to thank you all the participants for your kind listening and then also encouraging us by putting different questions. And obviously the moderator, Dean Kapil sir, he has been inspiring to us. Thank you.
Thank you.
I will try to close my few words by trying to answering a little bit with the question of our moderator. That's very interesting. You know, brain drain, how we can change it to the brain chain, right? To me, sometimes it becomes a slogan. You know, we've been talking about brain drain, very hard to quantify, very hard to, materialize in terms of the thoughtful functions. What's the magnitude of that? How it has been affecting in economy, for example. These all are research questions. But the interesting thing is, humankind has not stopped migrating. If you look at the history,
We are all African. We are all Africans.
we all have been migrating,
Yes.
draining actually. So if you read the history, even when there were no means of transportation, people used to move from one place to another. Spending 100 years, Aryan people, they took more than 600 years to arrive in India. So still, people are moving for the source of new opportunities and hope of new life, ease life. But it's been in the process of negative osmotic mechanism. In biology, we have read even high school level science that osmosis process took by flowing the materials from high concentration to low. But here, rich people are not coming down to the poor people house. Why? There is a need of creation of environment. That's the challenge. If you try to create that sort of environment, the platform, people probably, I don't say no migration, no drain, but the drainage would be minimum. And again, it won't be stopped. But that's the process.
It will be more natural.
Yes.
Right.
So we have to realize and try to be, practical in that sense. Now, what I would like to share at the end is the famous I. Parthenon, a very famous scientist, researcher, as well as planner. I suggested 3 important points for a long-term success of any institutions, any organizations, any governmental activities in terms of collaboration. What I suggested is identifying areas of collaboration. That's very important. You cannot collaborate in every area with a limited resources. What are your priorities area? That's important. Number 2, structuring partnership opportunities. You can't say that there is equal opportunity like I already talked at the beginning. Okay. But what you can do, restructuring or restructuring is possible. That's a good planning. And third is gaining internal stakeholder buy-in. They are the people, the community, where every effort will be materialized. I really enjoyed all these moderating processes, panelist processes. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you all the panelists. Now I'd like to request the chairperson of GUIC 2024 Organizing Committee, Dr. Rajkumar Thapa, to come over the stage to hand over token of love to our panelists. Please. First of all, Professor Dr. Poonam Tandon. Can you please read out it?
Let's read it out.
Thank you. Thank you, Kapil sir. Thank you all the panelists for your detailed discussion, and I hope you all enjoyed the panel discussion session. So this token of appreciation and this certificate is presented to Professor Poonam Tandon, Vice Chancellor of Deen Dayal Upadhyay Gorakhpur University, in recognition of the valued contribution as a panelist in the panel discussion at Gandaki University International Conference 2024, organized on January 3 to 5, 2024. And this has been signed by our respected Professor Dr. Ganeshman Gurum, Chancellor of Gandaki University.
Yes. Dr. Yamuna Gale.
Thank you so much, ma'am. This token of appreciation is presented to Dr. Yamuna Gale, a member of Board of Trustees from Gandaki University, in recognition of the valued contribution as a panelist in the panel discussion at Gandaki University International Conference, organized on January 3 to 5, 2024. And this has been signed by our respected Chancellor of Gandaki University.
Professor Dr. Navaraj Devgota.
Still, you are the panelist, sir. So this token of appreciation is presented to Professor Dr. Navaraj Devgota, Vice Chancellor of Gandaki University, in recognition of the valued contribution as a panelist in the panel discussion at Gandaki University International Conference 2024, organized on January 3 to 5, 2024. And this has been signed by our respected Chancellor of Gandaki University.
Thank you. Thank you. So
we also have a token of appreciation for you, sir. So I'll move ahead with that. So this token of appreciation is presented to Dr. Kapil Adhikari, Dean of Faculty of Science and Technology, Gandaki University, in recognition of the valued contribution as a moderator in the panel discussion at Gandaki University International Conference 2024, organized on January 3 to 5, 2024. And this has been signed by respected Chancellor of Gandaki University.
So this concludes the panel discussion for today. I think we are over. We are done for today. Thank you.